I wrote down 3 numbers every night for 18 months. That's it. 3 numbers. 2 minutes. And those 3 numbers made me wealthy. Not working longer hours. Not taking bigger risks. 3 numbers every night that reprogrammed how money flowed to me. I'm Henry Ford. And what I'm about to show you is the hidden secret that built my fortune. It's not in any biography, not in any business book, not in any history lesson. Because it's so simple, people think it can't work. But it does work. Those 3 numbers track something specific, something that changes how your brain sees money. And when your brain sees money differently, money comes differently. I made my first million after I started tracking these 3 numbers. Before that, I made money and lost it, made it and spent it, made it and gave it away. The money never stuck. Then I started the 3 number practice, and everything changed. Money stuck. Money multiplied. Money built into wealth instead of disappearing. If you're making money but never keeping money, if you're working hard but staying broke, if money comes and goes but never builds, the problem isn't how much you make, it's what you're not tracking. And I'm going to show you exactly what to track, why it works, and how to start tonight. Let's begin with why most people stay broke even when they make good money. Most people have a leak in their money system. Money comes in, money goes out. They work hard, they get paid. Then the money disappears and they don't know where it went. They think they're bad with money. They think they don't make enough. They think if they just made more, they'd finally get ahead. But that's not the problem. The problem is the leak. And you can't fix a leak you can't see. Making more money doesn't fix the leak. It just means more money leaks out. I've seen men double their income and stay just as broke as before. Because the leak scales with the income. Make twice as much, leak twice as much. The amount changes, but the broke stays the same. The 3 number practice makes the leak visible. And once you see it, you can fix it. Once you fix it, money stops leaking. Once money stops leaking, it starts building. That's how you get rich fast. Not by making more money, by plugging the leak so the money you already make actually stays and builds. I had a massive leak when I was young. Made decent money working for Edison. Thought I was doing fine. But every month ended the same way. Barely anything left. Didn't understand why. I wasn't spending on foolish things, wasn't wasting money, or so I thought. Then a man named John, who ran a shop down the street, showed me something that changed everything. He asked me a simple question. Henry, do you know exactly how much money you made last month? I gave him a rough number, close enough. He asked another question. Do you know exactly how much you spent? I gave him another rough number. He asked a third question. Do you know exactly how much you kept? I had no answer. I didn't know. I'd never tracked it. And that, he said, is why you'll stay broke. You can't build wealth with rough numbers. You need exact numbers. And you need to track 3 specific numbers every single night. Those 3 numbers show you the leak. Those 3 numbers show you where money goes. Those 3 numbers show you what's actually happening instead of what you think is happening. I didn't believe him at first. Seemed too simple. 3 numbers can't make you wealthy. But he insisted. He'd been tracking 3 numbers every night for 5 years. Started with nothing, now owned his shop outright, had money in the bank, had investments, all from tracking 3 numbers every single night for 5 years. So I tried it, started that night, and within 30 days I saw the leak. Within 60 days I'd plugged it. Within 90 days money was building for the first time in my life. Let me show you exactly what the 3 numbers are and why they work. Every night before you sleep, you write down 3 numbers. Just 3. Takes 2 minutes. But those 2 minutes change everything about how money flows in your life. First number. How much money came in today? Every dollar, every cent, wages, side work, money someone paid you back, money you found, everything that came in. Write the exact amount. Not rough, exact. Second number. How much money went out today? Every dollar, every cent, rent, food, transportation, that coffee, that snack, that thing you bought. Everything that went out. Write the exact amount. Not rough, exact. Third number, the difference. Money in minus money out. If more came in than went out, this number is positive. If more went out than came in, this number is negative. Write it down. That's it. 3 numbers, 2 minutes, every single night, no exceptions. Now here's what makes this powerful. When you track these 3 numbers every night, your brain starts seeing patterns you couldn't see before. You start noticing where money goes. You start noticing what drains money. You start noticing the leak. And once you notice the leak, you can't ignore it. It becomes obvious. And obvious things get fixed. Before I started tracking, I had no idea I was spending $15 a week on small things that didn't matter. Didn't seem like much. Just $1 here, $2 there. But $15 a week is $60 a month, $720 a year. That was nearly 2 months of my rent disappearing into small things I didn't need and couldn't remember buying. I didn't know that until I tracked. Once I tracked, I saw it clearly. And once I saw it clearly, I stopped it immediately. That $15 a week started building instead of leaking. After 1 year, I had $720 I wouldn't have had. That $720 became my first real investment. That investment multiplied. That multiplication became wealth. All because I tracked 3 numbers every night and saw the leak. But tracking alone isn't enough. You need to do something with the information. And that's where most people fail. They track for a few days, see the numbers, then do nothing. The numbers don't change your life. What you do because of the numbers changes your life. So let me show you what to do with the 3 numbers once you start tracking them. After 7 days of tracking 3 numbers, you'll see something. A pattern. Money going to things that don't build wealth. Money going to comfort. Money going to convenience. Money going to small things that add up to big amounts. This is the leak. And now you can see it. Most people's leak is in 3 categories. First category, comfort spending. Money spent to feel better. That treat after a hard day. That thing you buy because you deserve it. That small purchase that makes you feel successful. All comfort. All leak. Second category, convenience spending. Money spent to save time or effort. That delivery instead of cooking. That ride instead of walking. That service instead of doing it yourself. All convenience. All leak. Third category, unconscious spending. Money spent without thinking. That subscription you forgot about. That habit purchase you make automatically. That thing you buy because you always buy it. All unconscious. All leak. When you track for 7 days, you'll see exactly how much goes to each category, and you'll be shocked. Most people leak 30 to 50% of their income in these 3 categories. 30 to 50%. That means if you make $3,000 a month, $900 to $1,500 is leaking. Every single month. That's $10,000 to $18,000 a year disappearing into comfort, convenience, and unconscious spending. $10,000 to $18,000 that could be building wealth, but instead is building nothing. That's why you stay broke. Not because you don't make enough, because half of what you make is leaking into things that don't matter. When I tracked for 7 days and saw my leak, I was angry. Angry at myself for being so careless. Angry that I'd let this happen for years. Angry that I'd blamed my income when the real problem was my spending. But anger is useful if you channel it. I channeled it into plugging the leak. Cut comfort spending by 80%. Cut convenience spending by 70%. Cut unconscious spending by 90%. That freed up 40% of my income. 40% that had been leaking was now building. That 40%, invested and multiplied over 18 months, became my first significant wealth. Enough to leave Edison and start my own company. Enough to take the risks I needed to take. Enough to build what I wanted to build. All from plugging the leak that I couldn't see until I tracked 3 numbers every night for 7 days. Tracking 3 numbers every night for 7 days shows you the leak. But tracking for 30 days transforms how you handle money permanently. Here's why. For the first 7 days, you're just observing, seeing what's happening, noticing patterns. You're not trying to change anything yet, just watching. Days 8 through 14, you start making small changes. You see money going to something that doesn't matter. You stop spending on that thing. You see a pattern you don't like. You break it. Small changes, easy changes. Days 15 through 21, the changes become automatic. You don't have to think about not spending on certain things. You just don't. Your brain has been rewired by seeing the numbers every night. Days 22 through 30, you start seeing money build. The positive number on day 30, the money you kept, is bigger than day 1, maybe much bigger. And that visible progress creates momentum. By day 30, you're not the same person you were on day 1. You handle money differently. You think about money differently. You value money differently. Not because someone told you to, because you tracked numbers and saw truth and adjusted behavior. That transformation is permanent. Once you see how money actually flows, once you see the leak and plug it, once you see money building because of your choices, you can't go back to being careless. The tracking changes you, and the changed you builds wealth automatically. I remember day 30 of my tracking. The third number, the money I kept that day, was $18. Doesn't sound like much, but 30 days before, that number was negative $3. I was spending more than I made every day. By day 30, I was keeping $18 a day. That shift, that $21 difference, was visible proof that I'd changed, that I was different, that wealth was possible. I kept tracking every night after that. Day 60, the number was $23. Day 90, $28. By day 180, I was keeping an average of $40 a day. $40 a day is $1,200 a month. $14,400 a year. Building, multiplying, compounding. All because I tracked 3 numbers for 2 minutes every night and let those numbers change my behavior. That's the 30-day transformation. That's how you get rich fast. Not by making more money, by keeping more money. And you keep more money by seeing exactly where it goes and stopping the leak. Most wealth advice tells you what to do. Budget, save, invest, cut expenses, increase income. All good advices. But advice doesn't change behavior. You know you should budget, but you don't. You know you should save, but you don't. You know you should invest, but you don't. Why? Because knowing what to do doesn't create the motivation to do it. The 3-number practice creates motivation. It makes your financial reality visible every single night. And visible things create emotional responses. Emotional responses drive behavior. When you see money leaking every night in the numbers, you feel something. Frustration, anger, disappointment. Those feelings motivate change. When you see money building every night in the numbers, you feel something different. Pride, excitement, hope. Those feelings motivate continuation. The numbers create an emotional feedback loop. Leak creates negative emotion. Negative emotion motivates plugging the leak. Plugged leak creates positive emotion. Positive emotion motivates keeping the leak plugged. That feedback loop is automatic. You don't have to force it. You just track the numbers and let your emotions respond naturally. This is why the 3-number practice works when budgets fail. Budgets are plans. Plans don't create emotional feedback. You make a budget, you break it. You feel bad for a moment, then you forget about it. No daily feedback, no emotional loop, no behavior change. But tracking 3 numbers every night creates daily feedback. You see what happened today. You feel the result. You adjust tomorrow. Daily feedback, daily emotional loop, daily behavior change. That's why this works. That's why tracking 3 simple numbers builds wealth when complex budgets fail. I tried budgeting 3 times before I learned the 3-number practice. Made detailed budgets, planned every dollar, committed to following the plan, broke the budget within a week every single time. Why? Because the budget was theoretical. It lived on paper. It didn't connect to my daily reality. It didn't create emotional feedback. So I forgot about it and went back to old patterns. But tracking 3 numbers every night connected to my daily reality. It showed me what actually happened, not what I planned to happen. It created emotional feedback every single night, and that feedback changed behavior permanently without willpower or discipline. Just automatic adjustment based on truth I couldn't ignore because I saw it every night. Tracking 3 numbers seems small. 2 minutes a night. Writing 3 numbers. Doesn't seem like something that builds wealth. But wealth isn't built by big actions. Wealth is built by small actions repeated consistently. The 3-number practice compounds. Day 1, you track. You learn something small. Day 2, you track. You learn something else. Day 3, you track. You adjust something minor. Each day a small improvement, a small adjustment, a small learning. Individually, each day's improvement is tiny, but compounded over 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, the improvement is massive. You're not the same person. You don't handle money the same way. You don't leak money the same way. You don't build wealth the same way. Small daily actions compounded over time create transformation. That's the hidden secret. Not a big dramatic change, not a massive sacrifice, not a lucky break. Small actions, daily repetition, compound results. I tracked 3 numbers every single night for 5 years straight. Never missed a night, not one. That's 1,825 nights of tracking. 1,825 opportunities to see truth, feel emotion, and adjust behavior. Those small daily adjustments compounded into massive wealth. Wealth that seemed impossible on day 1. Wealth that seemed like luck to people who didn't know about the daily practice. But it wasn't luck. It was compound. That's what most people miss about building wealth. They want the result without the repetition. They want the compound without the daily action. They try something for a week, don't see massive results, quit, then complain that nothing works. But everything works if you do it long enough. The 3-number practice works, but only if you do it every night, only if you compound the small daily improvements, only if you stick with it past the point where most people quit. And I promise you this, if you track 3 numbers every single night for 90 days, your financial life will be completely different. Not slightly different, completely different. You'll keep more money. You'll waste less money. You'll see opportunities you couldn't see before. You'll make decisions you couldn't make before. You'll build wealth that seemed impossible before. All from 2 minutes a night tracking 3 numbers for 90 days. Let me give you the exact practice to start tonight. Not tomorrow, tonight, before you sleep. Get paper and pen. At the top of the page, write today's date. Below that, write 3 labels. Money in, money out, difference. Under money in, write every dollar that came to you today. Wages, side work, money back from something, whatever came in. Add it up. Write the total. Under money out, write every dollar that left you today. Rent, if you paid it. Food, transportation, that small purchase, everything. Add it up. Write the total. Under difference, subtract money out from money in. If money in was bigger, the number is positive. If money out was bigger, the number is negative. Write it. That's tonight. Tomorrow night, do it again. New date. 3 numbers. Track what actually happened tomorrow, not what you wish happened, what actually happened. Do this every night for 7 nights. After 7 nights, look at all 7 days together. You'll see patterns. You'll see the leak. You'll see what needs to change. Then for nights 8 through 30, keep tracking and start making the changes you saw in the patterns. This practice takes 2 minutes a night, no more. But those 2 minutes will change your financial life more than any other 2 minutes you spend. Because those 2 minutes force truth, and truth creates change, and change builds wealth. You might think I'm exaggerating. You might think 3 numbers can't change everything. I thought the same thing when John first showed me. But I tried it anyway because I was desperate, because nothing else was working, because I had nothing to lose. And within 30 days, I understood. The numbers don't change everything. The truth the numbers reveal changes everything. The behavior you adjust because of that truth changes everything. The wealth that builds because of that adjusted behavior changes everything. The numbers are just the tool. The truth is the power. So start tonight. Don't wait. Don't think about it. Don't plan to start later. Get paper and pen right now if you're home, or do it as soon as you get home. Write today's date. Write 3 numbers. Track what happened today. That's step 1. Step 2 happens tomorrow night, and every night after for 30 days minimum. After 30 days of tracking, something shifts. The tracking becomes automatic. You don't have to remind yourself. You just do it. Like brushing teeth. The numbers become meaningful. You care about the 3rd number, the difference, the money you kept. You want it to be positive. You want it to be bigger than yesterday. That caring drives behavior. You make different choices during the day because you know you'll track at night. You don't want to write a negative number, so you avoid spending that doesn't matter. You don't want the money out number to be bigger than the money in number, so you protect the money that comes in. That forward thinking based on backward-looking tracking changes everything. After 60 days, the changes are obvious. You have money building, not leaking. You can see it growing. That visible growth creates confidence. Confidence creates bigger actions. Bigger actions create bigger results. After 90 days, you're not just building money. You're building wealth consciousness. You think like a wealthy person. You see opportunities like a wealthy person. You make decisions like a wealthy person. Not because you're pretending, because the tracking changed your brain, changed how you see money, changed how you value money, changed how you handle money. After 180 days, 6 months, you're unrecognizable from who you were on day 1. Your bank account is different. Your spending is different. Your saving is different. Your investing is different. Your confidence is different. Your future is different. All from tracking 3 numbers for 2 minutes every night for 6 months. That's the power of compound. That's the power of daily practice. That's the power of truth that can't be ignored because you see it every single night. I tracked for 5 years before I stopped needing to write it down. By that point, the wealth consciousness was permanent. The behaviors were automatic. The results were established. But even after I stopped writing the numbers, I still tracked mentally. Still knew what came in. Still knew what went out. Still knew the difference. The practice had become part of who I was. It had changed me at the identity level. I wasn't someone trying to build wealth. I was someone who built wealth automatically because of how I thought and behaved. That identity shift is what the 3-number practice creates, and identity shift is permanent. Once you see yourself as someone who builds wealth, you can't go back to being someone who leaks money. The old identity dies, the new identity takes over, and the new identity creates new results. Tracking 3 numbers every night is the foundation. But there's a second practice that multiplies the power. Once a week, review all 7 nights together. Sit down with your 7 days of tracking. Look at the patterns. Ask 3 questions. First question, what took money that didn't give value? Look at the money out numbers. What did you spend on that didn't matter? That didn't make you happier, healthier, wealthier, or wiser? That's wasted money. Identify it. Commit to cutting it next week. Second question, what could have brought in more money? Look at the money in numbers. Were there opportunities you missed? Projects you could have taken? Value you could have offered? Money you could have asked for? That's missed money. Identify it. Commit to capturing it next week. Third question, how can I increase the difference? Look at the 3rd number across all 7 days. What would make that number bigger? Spending less on waste? Earning more from opportunities? Both? Decide on one specific action that increases the difference. Commit to doing it every day next week. This weekly review takes 10 minutes, but those 10 minutes turn the daily tracking from observation into strategy. You're not just seeing what happened, you're planning what happens next. You're not just recording, you're improving. Every week you identify waste and cut it. Identify missed opportunities and capture them. Identify actions that increase the difference and do them. Those weekly improvements compound just like the daily tracking compounds. Week 1, small improvement. Week 2, small improvement. Week 3, small improvement. By week 12, the accumulated improvements are massive. You're keeping twice as much money as week 1, or 3 times, or 5 times. Not because you're making dramatically more, because you're wasting dramatically less and capturing dramatically more. I started the weekly review after 30 days of daily tracking. Every Sunday morning, I'd review the previous 7 days. Ask the 3 questions. Identify improvements. Commit to changes. That 10-minute weekly practice doubled the speed of my wealth building. Without it, I was improving slowly through daily observation. With it, I was improving rapidly through weekly strategy. The combination of daily tracking and weekly review is unstoppable. Daily tracking shows you truth. Weekly review turns truth into strategy, strategy into action, action into results, results into wealth. Once you're tracking and money stops leaking, something interesting happens. The money you keep starts looking for work. It wants to multiply. Early on, when you first start tracking, all your energy goes to plugging leaks, stopping waste, keeping more of what you make. That's phase 1. Phase 1 can take 30 to 90 days depending on how big your leaks are. But once the leaks are plugged, once you're consistently keeping money every day, you enter phase 2. Phase 2 is multiplication. The money you're keeping needs to go somewhere, and where it goes determines whether you get rich fast or slow. Most people, once they start keeping money, put it in a box and sit on it, save it, protect it, refuse to risk it. That's phase 1 thinking in a phase 2 situation. You're keeping money but not growing it. That builds wealth slowly, very slowly. Rich fast requires multiplication, putting kept money to work making more money. That's what I did. Once I was consistently keeping $30 to $40 a day through plugged leaks, I took that kept money and invested it. Not in safe things that barely grew, in things that could multiply. Tools that increased my productivity, materials that let me take bigger projects, skills that made me more valuable. Each investment multiplied the kept money. $30 invested in better tools let me complete projects faster. Faster completion meant more projects. More projects meant more money in. More money in meant more to keep. More to keep meant more to invest. The cycle fed itself. That's the multiplication secret. Kept money invested in multiplication creates exponential growth. Kept money sitting in safety creates linear growth. Exponential beats linear every time, always, without exception. So once your leaks are plugged, once you're keeping money consistently, take 50% of what you keep and invest it in multiplication. Things that make you more productive, things that make you more skilled, things that make you more valuable, things that create more money in. That 50% multiplied and returned will be bigger than the 50% you kept safe. And next month you'll have more to split, more to keep safe, more to invest in multiplication. That's how you get rich fast. Plug leaks, keep money, multiply money, compound the multiplication. I took this approach for 18 months straight. Every dollar I kept from plugged leaks, I split 50-50. Half stayed safe, half invested in multiplication. Tools, materials, skills, projects that paid more, opportunities that scaled. By month 18, my income had tripled, not from luck, from multiplication. The investments paid back 5 to 10 times what I put in. Those returns got split again, half safe, half reinvested in multiplication. The compound effect of that strategy over 18 months built enough wealth to start my own company, to leave Edison, to take the big risk. All from tracking 3 numbers every night, plugging the leaks those numbers revealed, and multiplying the kept money through strategic investment. I've taught this practice to hundreds of people over the years. The 3 numbers, the daily tracking, the weekly review, the multiplication strategy. Most people nod, say it makes sense, say they'll start, then never start. Why? Because tracking requires facing truth, and most people prefer comfortable lies to uncomfortable truth. The comfortable lie is, I don't make enough money. That lie protects you. It's not your fault you're broke, it's the circumstances, the income, the economy, the opportunities. The uncomfortable truth is, I'm wasting the money I make. That truth exposes you. It is your fault you're broke. You're leaking money. You're spending on things that don't matter. You're avoiding the discipline that builds wealth. Most people choose the comfortable lie because it requires no change. You can stay exactly as you are and blame circumstances, but that choice keeps you broke forever. The uncomfortable truth requires change. You have to face the leak, fix the waste, adjust behavior. That's hard, but that hard is what builds wealth. So most people never start tracking, because starting means facing truth, and facing truth means admitting the comfortable lie was a lie. That's too painful for most people. They'd rather stay broke and comfortable than become wealthy through uncomfortable truth. Don't be most people. Start tonight. Face the truth. Track 3 numbers. See the leak. Fix it. Multiply the kept money. Build wealth. It's uncomfortable for 30 days. Then it becomes automatic. Then it becomes wealth. 30 days of uncomfortable is worth a lifetime of wealthy. I remember the first night I tracked. I didn't want to. Didn't want to see the truth. Preferred thinking I was doing fine. But I forced myself to write the numbers. Money in, $6 from the day's work. Money out, $8 on food, transportation, and small things. Difference, -$2. I'd spent more than I made. That truth hurt. Made me angry at myself. But that pain and anger motivated change the next day. I cut unnecessary spending, said no to things I would have said yes to, took a small side project I would have declined. Next night's numbers were different. Money in, $7. Money out, $4. Difference, +$3. That positive number felt good, better than the negative number felt bad. And that good feeling motivated continuation. That's the power of tracking. Truth creates emotion. Emotion drives change. Change builds wealth. But you have to start. You have to write the first 3 numbers, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable, because uncomfortable is where change happens. After 90 days of tracking 3 numbers every night, something shifts inside you. You stop seeing yourself as broke. You start seeing yourself as someone who builds wealth. That identity shift changes everything, because identity drives behavior automatically. When you saw yourself as broke, you behaved like broke people behave. Spent money as soon as you got it, avoided financial conversations, made short-term decisions, chose comfort over investment. All automatic, all driven by broke identity. But when you see yourself as someone who builds wealth, you behave like wealthy people behave. Keep money when you get it. Engage financial conversations confidently. Make long-term decisions. Choose investment over comfort. All automatic, all driven by wealth identity. The tracking creates the identity shift. You see yourself keeping money every night. You see the numbers growing. You see wealth building. And your brain updates your identity. You're not broke anymore. You're someone who builds wealth. That update is permanent. Once your brain sees you as wealth builder, it protects that identity. It automatically makes choices that match wealth builder identity. It automatically rejects choices that match broke identity. You don't have to force it. Don't have to discipline yourself. The identity drives the behavior automatically. This is the real power of the 3-number practice. Not the money you keep, the identity you build. Because the right identity builds wealth forever. The wrong identity stays broke forever. Everything flows from identity. I felt the identity shift around day 75. I was having a conversation with someone about money. In the past, I would have been uncomfortable, would have avoided the topic, would have felt ashamed about my financial situation. But that day, I felt different. I felt confident, like I knew something they didn't, like I had control of my money in a way they didn't. That feeling was the identity shift. I'd stopped seeing myself as broke. I'd started seeing myself as someone who builds wealth. And that new identity changed how I showed up in that conversation. Changed what I said. Changed what I asked for. Changed the outcome. The person ended up offering me a project at a higher rate than I'd ever been paid before. Not because I demanded it, because I carried myself like someone worth that rate, because my identity had shifted. And people pay what your identity claims you're worth. That's the power of identity shift. It changes everything without you trying to change anything. The change happens automatically because of who you are, not because of what you do. Let me show you exactly what happens month by month when you track 3 numbers every night. Month 1. You see the leak. You plug obvious waste. You keep more money than before. The difference number goes from negative or barely positive to consistently positive. You save maybe $200 to $500 you would have leaked. Month 2. The behavior becomes automatic. You don't have to think about avoiding waste, you just do. The kept money starts building. You have 400 to 1,000 saved. You start thinking about multiplication. Month 3. You make your first multiplication investment. 50% of kept money into something that increases your value or productivity. The investment pays back quickly. The return plus continued kept money creates momentum. You have 800 to 2,000 saved. Month 4 through 6. The multiplication investments compound. Each one pays back more than the last. Your income increases because you're more productive, more skilled, more valuable. The money in number on your daily tracking is bigger than month 1. The money out number is smaller. The difference is much bigger. You have 3,000 to 6,000 saved. Month 7 through 12. The compound really kicks in. Money in keeps growing. Money out stays controlled. Kept money multiplies through investments. Identity has fully shifted. You're not tracking to build wealth anymore. You're tracking because you are wealthy and wealthy people track. You have 8,000 to 15,000 saved and growing. Month 13 through 18. You're unrecognizable from month 1. Income doubled or tripled. Expenses controlled. Multiplication investments paying back consistently. Wealth building automatically. You have 15,000 to 30,000. You're ready for the big move. The business, the property, the opportunity, the thing that takes you to the next level. That's the timeline. 18 months from starting to track 3 numbers to having enough wealth to make the move that changes everything. Not decades, 18 months, if you do it right. If you track every night, if you plug the leaks, if you multiply the kept money, if you let the compound work. That was my timeline exactly. Month 18, I had enough to leave Edison and start my own company. Not because I got lucky, because I tracked 3 numbers every night for 18 months and did what those numbers told me to do. Cut the waste, keep the money, multiply the kept money, let it compound. By month 18, the compound had created enough wealth to take the risk I needed to take. Enough to survive if things went wrong. Enough to invest in the opportunity. Enough to build what I wanted to build. All from 2 minutes a night tracking 3 numbers for 18 months. That's how you get rich fast. That's the hidden secret. Not working harder. Not taking bigger risks without preparation. Tracking truth. Adjusting behavior. Multiplying results. Compounding over time. You now know the hidden secret. 3 numbers. Every night. 2 minutes. Track what came in. Track what went out. Calculate the difference. Do that for 7 days. See the leak. Do it for 30 days. Plug the leak. Do it for 90 days. Change your identity. Do it for 18 months. Build serious wealth. The practice is simple. The results are extraordinary. But only if you start. Only if you do it every single night. Only if you let truth change behavior. Only if you let behavior build wealth. Most people won't start. They'll think about it. They'll plan to start someday. They'll wait for the perfect time. But the perfect time never comes. And waiting is expensive. Every day you wait is another day of leaking money. Another day of missed wealth building. Another day of staying broke when you could be building rich. So don't wait. Don't think about it. Don't plan to start. Start tonight, before you sleep. Paper and pen. Today's date. 3 numbers. Money in, money out. Difference. Write them. That's day 1. Tomorrow night is day 2, and so on for 18 months. By then, your life will be completely different. Your money will be different. Your opportunities will be different. Your future will be different. All because you started tonight. All because you tracked 3 numbers for 2 minutes every night. All because you did what 95% of people won't do. Face truth. Change behavior. Build wealth. Start tonight. Good luck.